Hey everyone at home and audience members of my blog. Not that there are many of you, but anyway, two things I've been pondering on for a little bit and I just wanted to share. In about 20 minutes, President Obama is going to address Congress about healthcare reform. And partly because I have a lot of free time at the office, because I'm still not as busy as they say I'm going to be. I try to stay abreast of all the issues, and healthcare is the big one right now. So I'll either be reading the bill online, waiting for someone to ask me to do something at the office, or I'm reading all the stories and analysis and what all the pundits have to say. And I'm definitely in the Anthony Weiner camp, the House rep from New York, who says that basically we should already be on a single payer system. And so I was very, very sad whenever the public option was seeming to cave. Of course, we won't know for sure until the next half hour or so. But it kind of brings my whole following of the healthcare debate brings to mind, or just made me think that this is probably something all foreign correspondents deal with at some point. Not that I'm a foreign correspondent yet, but that's where I hope I'm headed. The fact that on one hand I should be totally enmeshed in Italian news and politics because that's what's going on here, and my job is to know about all these things. Well, my job, as far as anyone will use me at work. But then, I'm an American first and foremost, and I can't help but be super invested in what's going on at home. And so I'm finding that you can do both. And so I imagine that would be harder as the issues that you face in your country of current location, like me here in Italy, also seem more and more important. Right now, things of note in Italian news, of course I'm biased, but they don't seem to quite stack up to what is important news in the U.S. And so naturally my attention goes to what's happening in the U.S. a little more heavily than what's happening here in Italy. Mostly Berlusconi dominates all the news coverage with his latest rant against the media and conspiracy theories, and he slept with a new 20-something-year-old, and or he hasn't, allegedly, right? That's what we say. So anyways, it's just something I was thinking about, having to navigate both news systems, where you are and then where you're from. So we'll see how that pans out. Second thing on my mind. There's this one story, and it's going a little cold now, but it was a big deal, was that 75 immigrants from Africa died on their voyage from the African side of Sicily to the Italian side of Sicily. And they died because it was a 21-day journey, and they didn't have enough provisions, and they were out of food and water, and there were pregnant women on board and children, all of which died. There were only 5 survivors of the 80 people on the boat. But the story of it is that there were boats around. There were commercial fishing boats and any other kind of commercial boat. It's a very well-traveled canal, and they just ignored this very obvious overcrowded boat of immigrants. And I think it shows some of the frustration or, an attitude cultivated in Italy towards immigrants due to frustration over immigration, because it's more than the Italian economy can support. And so, but this is the extreme case of neglect when 75 people are allowed to perish at sea, when there are plenty of people around to help. One boat stopped to give them food and water. So it's just something CNN actually did cover this, I think, and so I'll put that link on the blog. But it's just one of those issues I wish we knew more about in America, because apparently this kind of treacherous voyage claims lives, or at least causes heavy injuries all the time, and the immigrants are just so desperate to escape either dismal poverty conditions or oppressive regimes, and so anyway, it's one of those things I connected to that the news cycle didn't connect to quite as much, which I guess happens all the time for journalists. So anyways, and finally Brussels did get involved, and they're doing an investigation of the deaths, but according to the Italian Ministry of Internal Affairs, it's a totally routine, kind of lip service investigation, which I hope it's not, because 75 deaths is a big deal. So anyways, some things going on in the head, but back to healthcare. The reason I bring it up also is because just because I'm here in Rome does not mean I'm not paying attention to what's going on at home, and that I am not still invested in my country of origin. So that's all about that. And then sorry for being in the bathroom. It's kind of late. It's past my bedtime, and I don't want to wake anybody else in the house up with my talking to you guys. So anyways, as I always say, this is Suzanne Edwards reporting from her bathroom in Rome, Italy, moments before President Obama addresses Congress on healthcare reform. Signing off.